Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. We are in the new studio, folks. It is slick and better than ever. Boom, there it is. Might work on a different background. So it's not my head in my head. But we're here doing a show, and I just want to ask everybody, first of all, if you have anything in the comments, hey, try this, do this, the sound, light, just want to make sure it's good. I've tweaked the sound a little bit from the last test video, and I've done a little more with the lights. I might need a little more lighting. I've changed the camera settings to make my face brighter, and I put the background so I won't have a white background, so the camera then adjusts and all that stuff. But let me know in the comments section, hey, I had little tweaks or whatever. I'm getting an anti-glare film that goes across this. That still hasn't shown up in the mail yet, but I got my laptop stand here so I can freestyle. I can free my hands are free to do magic. Oh, did you know you had a remote behind your ear? Oh, it's gone. Magic, you guys, magic. So very excited to be in the new studio, and we're gonna do a story, folks. Basically, there was an op-ed piece in the New York Times talking about we had a 10-year window in the like from 79 to 89 where we could have got together and really solved climate change. And then this woman from the Intercept comments on it, and she's written a 500-page book on the subject, and she's like, really? It was capitalism that did this, not human nature. This is the title of her article. Capitalism killed our climate momentum, not human nature. And I will put this in the show notes so you can read the full article. But what happened, and I'll pull some excerpts from it, but this gentleman talks about how, you know, human nature and the politics hadn't gotten into it yet, and it hadn't become a partisan issue. And there's these gaping things, and there's some decent stuff in the New York Times article, but it really leaves out some critical stuff. And again, it's the New York Times, so the New York Times is not going to be like, capitalism is killing our planet. Capitalism is bad. The New York Times is not going to say that, right? So they're going to say stuff like this. These are the things that are always said when, I mean, and the Intercept journalist brings up, she's like, hey, congrats, for at least the New York Times is talking about this. But the point that she brings up, and I brought this up, and Jimmy Doris brought this up, these are the sayings that why journalists claim that that's no good for them to cover climate change. Climate change is too far off in the future. It's inappropriate to talk about politics when people are losing their lives to hurricanes and fires. Gee, I wonder what's causing all of the hurricanes and fires. Don't address that. Don't address that. Just, oh, we don't want to get into you're politicized. Anytime somebody brings up climate change is causing all of these hurricanes, like all the hurricanes we had last season. It's hurricane season is starting again. They're going to start cooking up again. We always go, oh, you know, let's don't politicize it. No, we absolutely should. Because the failure of politics is why the environment keeps getting worse and we're not doing anything about it. Journalists follow the news, they don't make it. And politicians aren't talking about climate change. And of course, every time we try, it's a ratings killer. No, it's not a ratings killer. You guys deliberately kill it because the fossil fuel industry funds your corporate news. That's what happens. They fund it. When the American Petroleum Institute is putting out ads showing, boy, petroleum is really making all of our lives so wonderful. When they buy ad time during the Super Bowl, you better believe that these are just the marching orders of journalists, of corporate media journalists. They just have to say this ridiculous stuff. That's what they have to do. And they talk about this, and Jimmy Doris talked about this, where they'll go, you know, they'll have an expert, like Bill Nye the Science Guy or someone, and then they'll, and he'll give all of the science and facts about climate change, and then they'll bring in somebody else. And they will never go, oh, and by the way, this person is paid by ExxonMobil or British Petroleum or anything like that. They'll never talk about that. And the New York Times doesn't go into that at all. They just make it a Republican-Democrat issue. And this is more of the corporate nonsense of getting us to think that it's these two parties fighting and not getting along and it's this party or that party. No, it's the corporate machine. It's the oil, it's the carbon fuel industry that clamped it in the 80s went, man, they had all the science in the 70s, if not before, that went, oh man, fossil fuels are killing the planet. You know, and the point that is brought up, and I'll get into it in a second, is that why the Intercept journalist is like, there's some hope here, right? There's some hope. So let's go into some more facts though. 88 to 89 was the worst possible moment for humanity to decide that it was going to get serious about putting planetary health up ahead of profits. Gee, why? What happened then? Oh, Canada and the US signed NAFTA, and then the countless other horrifying deals that would follow. That's why. Unregulated capitalism was really coming into its own. It had a couple decades of just sort of gradual deregulation. It had Reagan, 8 years of Reagan deregulating stuff. Boom. 4 years of the first Bush, and then 8 more years after this of Clinton deregulating stuff. Getting ready for NAFTA. That's why. That's why. The New York Times article doesn't go into it at all, right? What else was happening? The Berlin Wall was about to fall, an event that would successfully seized upon by right-wing ideologues in the US as proof the end of history and taken as a license to export the Reagan-Thatcher recipe for privatization, deregulation, and austerity to every corner of the globe. And that was the big battle cry. I was alive then. When the Berlin Wall came down, we won. Communism is bad. Capitalism is good. Capitalism has beat the evil Soviets. Now, make no mistake, the Soviets were like, we want to dominate the world, and they had a whole nuclear, I said nuclear on a video and somebody corrected me. Nuclear? I like mispronouncing things. My name's Graham Elward. But so the Soviet Union was like, they made a lot of threats and stuff like that, which was, but really what it was we backed them into a corner, and because we needed capitalism to win. That's what happened. Capitalism won. And saving the environment hurts capitalism from this old business model. So what is happening now is, and this article goes into it, is now we've got democratic social. We've got people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and winning elections and coming forward and talking about it. And everyone's talking about a Green New Deal. You know, how do we can get jobs? We don't have to ship them off. You know? And I mean, this again, why we're into this whole Russiagate thing is 1980 or 81, I think, the defense contractors, it was the peak of spending. Everyone was buying. The two superpowers were nuking up, and the defense contractors are winning. So they're trying to get that going again. We need to get another arms race. So here's this. We humans were really on the brink of saving ourselves in the 80s, but were swamped by a tide of elite free market fanaticism, one that was opposed by millions of people around the world. That's what happened. Capitalism. And it's why many of you are involved with the Democratic Socialists of America. They're not a political party. They're just a political organization, and it's why we get behind candidates like Kenneth Mejia and Elizabeth Ocasio-Cortez, because I'm so impressed when socialism was a evil word, and it was immediately tied to communism back in the 80s. That's again how the capitalists won and got this thing. They, whoa, socialism bad, oh, communism. If you do socialism, then the Soviet army is going to come marching down your street and make you not have, you know, you can't play Little League anymore, you know, whatever their crazy thing was. So this is why we need to back democratic socialists and back progressives and back a Green New Deal, because that is what will make Gotham great again. Please come out to Seattle, August 9th. I'm doing this show, Political Vigilante, live at the Jewel Box at the Rendezvous in downtown Seattle. August 11th, I'm doing stand-up comedy with Mike Schmidt. He has a podcast called The 40-Year-Old Boy. He's a very, very good current events comedian. He'll be doing some political stuff. So go to GrahamElwood.com. If you come out to the live shows, I'll be there. I'll shake your hand. Photos, autographs are all free. I'll have Make Gotham Great Again shirts for sale. And I love meeting you guys in person. I met many of you in Chicago at the Jimmy George show. I met many of you on the road for the Progressive Comedy Tour. So go to GrahamElwood.com and get tickets for August 9th and 11th in Seattle. Also, November 2nd and 3rd, Sacramento and San Francisco, Ron Placone and I are doing the Progressive Comedy Tour. We're working on other cities. We'll come to yours. Thanks for watching.